Let's go back to one of our top stories today. The country's GDP contracting to 0.7% in the second quarter of 2022. Part of the reason for this drop is due to persistent power cuts weighing heavily on the economy. And just this afternoon, Eskom announcing that load shedding is back with us from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock and for the rest of the weekend until Saturday. Now, this has caused an unconducive environment for business to thrive. The president, that's Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, promising reforms to strengthen Africa's economy when he took office in 2018. Well, let's discuss today's numbers now with the Black Business Council CEO, the boss himself there, that's Khanki Matabane. Mr. Matabane, good afternoon. Welcome to Today on eNCA. Thank you for your time. Your overriding reaction to the GDP figures released today for the second quarter of 2022.
Good afternoon, Braden and the viewers. The prospects are actually not looking good. When you look at the figures released, they decreased from 1.7%. They moved from 1.7% increase in the last quarter, and as you said, the quarter two we basically experienced a serious unprecedented power cuts in the country, where we almost reached level 8, and that is not good for conducive business environment. When you are, for example, when you are a business person from outside the country, you are thinking of investing in South Africa, you are likely to think twice. But also, even when you are local, like a local small business person, when you're thinking of expansion, you are likely not to do it because you're thinking, but I'll try, let's say I've got a hairdresser, I'm trying to expand to and open more branches and create employment. But you can't do it when you know there may be load shedding and you may have to close shop and you may have them to pay people for not necessarily working. But also, when you look at the impact of the conflict in Russia and Ukraine, we then have this huge increase in fuel price, and that also affects people's ability to do business, because then people will try and cut costs, and when people don't necessarily go on with their daily lives of doing business, that affects the economic growth, and hence the reflection of the decrease. But again, the overall environment and overall indicators in basically all the sectors and it's going down. I think there are one or two sectors that registered an increase, and when you have sectors like agriculture that has got the capacity to absorb a lot of unskilled labor also not growing, then you have to be worried.
Yeah, but the other factors, I mean, I hear you talking about load shedding, and we all know that it had a huge impact in the last quarter, in the quarter two that we're talking about, April, May, June. I mean, we're at stage 6 at some point. There is the other factors that business like yourself say you need more certainty around. Are they affecting economic prospects?
Yes, I think the entire environment is not necessarily conducive for business. There are things that, for example, as Black Business Council have been raising, the issue of market concentration. When you look at all the sectors of the economy, they're highly concentrated. And you hear, for example, one telco wanting to buy another one, then we're going to only have 2 telco companies that contribute, that basically owns 90% of the economy. Where is the space for small businesses to grow? And basically what we are doing, in our view, we're working against the economic policy of the country, which is the National Development Plan, because National Development Plan has also guided us to focus on small businesses, because that's where the growth is going to come from. Most of the big companies, they've reached their maximum capacity. So we need to bring new players to the market, and that can only come from small business. But what government is doing, in basically what most of the things that they are doing, they don't seem to be encouraging any growth in small business or supporting small business at all.
What role does the leadership have to play in this regard? Do you think the environment could improve if we had the right kind of leaders across the board, both in business and in government?
Yes, leadership sets the tone, and for example, what leadership says, a lot of people then will buy into that. So just to give you one example, we've been raising this issue with the president of the country, the issue of paying small business on time or pay small business at all, because we think if you pay small business the money that you owe, which is more than 5 billion rands, it will on its own, it will invigorate the economic growth. So that's where the tone can be set. If the president just give an instruction that all the small businesses that are owed with all the correct invoices are paid, that on its own will bring probably 1 or 2% economic growth in the country, because then the money will start circulating among small business owners. They will pay their employees. They will be able to pay more, to buy more goods and services, and that on its own, without doing much, by just giving an instruction to say, let's pay small businesses what we owe them. That will set the tone. From a business point of view, I think it's important what business leaders also are saying, because if business leaders are saying it's all doom and gloom, it means people on the ground will feel like will feel discouraged, and even those who are thinking of building or buying their own businesses, they may feel like there's nothing right that is happening.
Yeah. So, in your view, from Black Business Council, how would you analyze or interpret the state of our leadership in the country today?
Yeah, I think looking at where things are, I think we do have the correct leadership or the right leadership. The issue is the leadership that we have does so much talking, but very, very little implementation.
But they say, but Mr. Matabane, they say they are aware that implementation is lacking on various platforms. So, but they all say we need to implement. Time for talking is over, time for action. But still, you find that it's like they're stuck.
Yeah. I think maybe it's a decision that they've made, that they will run the country via public relations. Forgetting that public relations, you must be communicating the things that you have done, not always communicating plans. Because if you listen to our leadership, every time they are communicating intentions, and you wonder, but why are you always communicating intentions? We never come back and say we are reporting back. You'll hear, if you listen to all the State of the Nation address, the president will say, I'm going to create so many jobs. But the following year, he doesn't come and say, but out of the 1 million jobs that I said they're going to be created, I've created so much. So there's a need for that accountability, and then there's a serious need for implementation, as we say. And you can only implement when you hire the right people. So the leadership is there, but the leadership must also make sure that they hire the right people. They put the right people into positions who've got the capacity, the willingness, and the ability. Because sometimes you put people there who necessarily, because they are coming from the same party, they are coming from the same branch, but they don't have the capacity. So we must just accept that this is my comrade, but he doesn't have capacity. Let me put people who've got capacity, because the country is going down, and it's going down with us and our kids.
Thank you very much, Khanki Matabane, the CEO of Black Business Council. Just his reactions to today's GDP figures and some insights about his thoughts of the Black Business Council around the kind of leadership today, the state of leadership in the country today in terms of moving things forward and growing this economy.